Welcome everyone to this Centre of Connection recording of Intimate Conversations, and our guest today, first up off the slot, is Beverly Iffla. Welcome, Bev.
Good morning, Mandy. So excited to be here.
Look, I'm so happy that you're here too. I've been really looking forward to this. So I would just like to introduce you. So Beverly is a healer, teacher, facilitator, and metaphysical therapist. Bev began as a very ordinary wife, mother, and homer till being awakened through Reiki in 1992. Since then, constant learning opportunities for her spiritual growth appeared as if by divine decree. Spending 10 years and plus totally unraveling the history of her own past and the trauma contained within has brought her to a place of great empathy and deep understanding for her clients. So nothing in human nature shocks her or takes her out of her centre. Her medicine bag contains Reiki Master, Bowen Therapy, Diploma of Holistic Counselling. She is a master sacred geometry therapist, and sound healing using crystal bowls and her deeply healing toning voice to create balance and harmony in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Bev is insightful and intuitive and uses her many years of experience to assist you in your life purpose. So, Bev, would you like to add anything to that for us?
I think the only thing I'd really like to add is just how much I love working with people, and I love watching their growth and the change in their old patterning. It just gives me such a sense of joy to help unravel some of their past traumas and things that hold them back and contained within their old belief systems.
Beautiful, Bev, and I know from personal experience you're very, very good at assisting those who need this sort of work. You're very, very good at it. So, Bev, around the world, so many people seem to have become disconnected. I know this concerns you. Can you share your thoughts on that, please, with us?
Yeah, it's like we've forgotten who we are.
Mm.
You know, we can't, in the spiritual world, we've forgotten who we are, and you're thinking it's outside of here, outside of this realm and where we come from. But actually, it's about we are part of the earth. And that's the part I think that we've forgotten. We've forgotten that we are made of earth. You know, they go dust to dust, to ashes to ashes. Well, we are made of the food we eat, which comes from the earth, the water we drink, which comes from the earth, the air that we breathe. So every single thing, until they started adding chemicals and all the rest of that stuff to it, but we essentially are exactly what the earth's made of, and we've forgotten how connected we are to nature and how the interaction is.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's tricky
It is.
especially if people live in cities. I'm really fortunate that I live in the country where I am connected to nature. I can walk by the river and I can go into the forest. And if I go a long way, I can get to the ocean as well. But it's just like that connecting to nature keeps me grounded and keeps me present in this world.
It's definitely important, I feel, too. It keeps us balanced and centered, for sure.
Yeah, because I remember when I first started my journey, I was always searching out there somewhere for the answers, you know. But now I know that I can bring, if the answers are out there, I can bring them into my body and find them inside of me. You know, we are made of stardust as well. We're everything, held within every cell.
It's pretty exciting, eh? When you know that connection within yourself too, it's just really exciting. Your world changes.
The world does change, and your perception of the world changes. Like, it gives you more of an appreciation for the natural world.
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
you remember that? Do you remember that song that came out years ago about it was Joni Mitchell's song about we're going to see trees in the tree museum. I can't remember exactly all the
Oh,
words,
no.
but no. Well, it was like, and we're all going to live in little boxes, all tied up with bows. It's
Oh,
like,
little boxes. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we're almost there,
Mm.
um, and how sad is that?
Yep.
I live in a place where we have jarrah forests that are there's Western Australia, southwest West Australia. It's the only place in the world that has these most magnificent trees, and they're getting wiped out as quick as the Amazon.
Oh,
But of course, as an Aussie, we always look outside and go, "Oh, naughty, they're doing that." But actually, what we're doing to our own land affects us as well.
it does. It does.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I really believe what we hold within ourselves, and the wounding that we hold is definitely a part of the wounding that she's experienced as well. And it's when we
Mm,
release something, it releases through her as well, and
yep.
makes helps her body.
It
Mm.
helps her body too. And, like even this virus that's going around, I think that sometimes we're a bit of a virus on the earth. So
Mm.
maybe if we start looking after her more, then this will all just dissipate.
Absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely. And look how quickly when we were all in lockdown, that this world, she renewed her body. She really renewed in many
yeah,
places. Yeah,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
absolutely.
And we just
Um,
needed to get out of the way.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, let her do the work,
Mm.
and do our own internal work because while people were in lockdown, they actually had to be with themselves.
Mm.
There wasn't the external, let's go shopping, let's go, whatever, unless you want to go to Coles or Woolworths, of course. um, but you couldn't, uh, you just couldn't uh, be always looking for the next thing.
Mm.
Mm.
Yes. There's a question about that later on.
Mm.
Before the show, Bev, you shared with me how we seem to be connected only to the next fix.
Oh, that's the one.
So, no, what do you mean by that? Obviously.
Yeah. Oh, well, I always relate it to getting a new car. So I get a new car and it's like, oh, my car, and I'll polish it and I'll look after it. And then somebody bangs into it and I've got a ding in it. And I'm like, oh. And it just, the energy of having that new thing drops. So then I'm sort of like looking for the next new thing. It's like we're always searching for that next thing that's going to fill us up.
Yes.
And yeah, and really it's about filling up ourselves with the love of ourselves.
Mm.
And if we can actually really pull that in, and being in nature and allowing nature to love us. So it's all of those things can be filled without the external.
Mm.
Um, I remember house sitting at a lady's house in New Zealand who she just lived there on her own. Her whole, like she had two pantries and two freezers that were chock a block full. And it's like she's a one old lady. It's like there was this need to be filling everything up out of the external world rather than being able to fill our own internal world.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
I've often felt a little, I don't know, guilty, or maybe I'm not sure, about only ever having what I need, particularly in the food cupboards. I've never been somebody who fills chest freezers and cupboards, abound for whenever. It's like I really run on just what we need, and get more in when we need it. It's just the way
Yeah.
I work. But I did have this funny sort of thing about me going on, that in the sense of feeling that I needed to actually be prepared for something, you know. Maybe if something happened, I wouldn't be prepared. We wouldn't have enough food to last us if something happened. But
something happened and you had plenty.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's no shortage for us, I
No,
feel.
there is no shortage.
Mm,
Yeah, no, there's no shortage.
yeah. No, it's good to come back to self and to, I mean, I just know myself now from not spending like I used to on stuff that I don't need anymore. You know, if anything, I'm just getting rid of a lot of stuff because I don't want to cart it around with me anymore. It's like,
No, and
doesn't
I
serve.
feel cluttered.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a friend here in WA who, you know, all her mother's stuff came to her, and there's all the stuff that she's collected over the years. To her whole house is just so full of other people's energies
Mm,
that it's really difficult to be there. So it's like having a really good clear out and clearing the old stagnant energy from mothers and fathers and all of that that you hold. It gives you more breathing space.
does. It actually does. It's and it definitely, you know, because it affects here, it does clean you out internally as well. It's that
Yeah,
letting go of the old, definitely.
letting go of the old. It's actually important, and I don't know how many people realise the energy that's held within the things that you own.
Mm,
Mm, you know,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, you can feel it. You know, you can feel when you walk into somebody's house.
Mm,
If there's been an argument, it's like that energy's got collected. It doesn't go anywhere unless you get to and do some cleaning out.
mm, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it definitely sits. And so many times, you know, just in teaching development classes where we use psychometry, you know, holding an item and feeling the vibration and getting
Right.
the energy to speak to us about it.
Yeah,
And that's everything. Everything has that sort of conscious awareness and energy stuff. So it is
yeah,
good to get rid of what we don't need for sure.
yeah.
Mm.
I shared a house with this woman in New Zealand who, when we moved house, she picked up each item to see if or how she felt with it.
Mm.
And if it didn't feel like she totally loved it and really needed it in her life, she let it go till
Mm.
she moved from this huge house to a very tiny two-bedroom unit
Yeah,
um, with just what she needed.
it's great. It's a great feeling. I know I've done that myself, and it's freeing.
It's
Really is.
freedom.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
And you know, I ended up with just what I needed, and then unpacked with shifting and thought, you know, actually there's still stuff here that I will cull out, you know. So it's
yeah,
I think it's a continual thing we just need to keep doing really.
yeah. I think
Mm.
I'm a minimalist.
Yeah, me too, actually. I prefer to be for sure.
Yeah,
I haven't been in the past, but I would
no,
like to be and more so.
yeah.
Yes. So do you think we've lost touch with what's right in front of us, Bev? And if so, what effect do you think it's had on our humanity?
Yeah, well, because we're always searching out there for something to fill us up,
Mm.
we have lost our empathy for others that have less than us.
Mm.
You know, like yeah, that our empathy and our compassion for those that have less, it gets judged.
It so does. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's like you watch people walk past a homeless person sitting on the street. Most people want to ignore that person, but they are a divine spark of God as well.
They are.
And yeah, and some of them, if you took the time to listen to their story, they've fallen on hard times, and it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It just could. If you have a mortgage, you have a credit card that's maxed out, you know, and you lose your job.
Mm.
Where are you going to support all of that by being on unemployment?
Yeah.
Most people live to what they earn. So if they earn $100,000 a year, that's what they live to, and maybe 20% more.
Mm.
And your $100,000 a year is taken away, and you're down to 25. That does not support what you've been.
No.
So we just don't consider that could happen to us. That could be us sitting on a street corner trying to get some food.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I we see it with, and I know I've felt this myself, in that I've felt less than by not owning a home
Yeah.
anymore, like owned one
Mm.
in the past, but don't own one now. And it's that I don't know, there's just this feeling for me that I get judged by that.
Yes. But I think our biggest judgment comes from ourselves.
Mm.
Because I don't think anybody else judges us for not having a home,
Mm.
but we hold that judgment within us. Because it's interesting you say that, because yesterday I had a session around exactly that,
Right.
feeling not enough around not owning my own home, not having the right shaped figure, or, there was this whole list of things that I felt that I didn't have.
Mm.
It was actually the tape that was running inside my head
Yes.
about what I'm meant to have.
This
And
is it. Mm.
so, that is one of the things that I love to help people with, is removing those tapes, because as I remove my own, it gives me a space to be able to help others to remove theirs as well.
Yeah,
It's like, because we're all so interconnected.
we are,
Mm,
such a big way.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think, I know for me it was, I didn't do life the way my family expected me to do. So therefore there was the judgment around, I'm not getting anywhere because I don't have ownership of things.
yes.
And just recently actually sat in that for myself, because I was feeling uncomfortable around not owning a property. And because everybody's gone silly on owning at the moment, buying up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, gosh, do I need to get in the race? And I realised that I actually don't like ownership. I've never liked that we own land. That we can put a ownership on it, when really it's our birthright. Every place on this planet is ours. It's
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. Um,
Yeah, well, yeah, so it's really interesting, because my daughter has just bought a place. So the finance stuff's all happening at the moment. But what she did, she actually asked the land, what piece of land wants me to be the guardian of it? So
right.
it's not like she wants to actually own it, even though she's going to have the title of it. She wants to be the guardian of that piece of land, and she wants to be the guardian of it for her family and her extended family, so that there is a place for all of us to land.
Mm, mm,
Mm. And it's really beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to my other daughter a couple of days ago, who had no intention of ever being close to where my other daughter was. And who goes, I have a feeling that Nicole would let me have an acre of that land to build my own house. I went, oh. So, it's like Nicole's been creating this dream, and it seems to be coming to fruition.
Mm.
Mm.
It's gorgeous. And that's the thing, what we tend to do is we own and we exclude. So
Yes.
we put up all the, if you look at housing today, there's so many high fences, everyone's locking the gate, and
Yeah.
and keeping everyone outside of it, and their fortress. And I understand that, I get that, because communities can be a bit rough sometimes, and all of that thing. But if we're going to own, this is me, if we're going to own, then it's for me anyway, it would be something that was a community thing where we're
Yeah,
bringing others in and others can enjoy it rather than be excluded from it.
yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Yes, yeah. My brother, who he owns a lot. He then said to Nicole the other day, "You are teaching us a lot about family."
Beautiful.
Mm. It was like, yeah, it was a really beautiful acknowledgement.
And this is the thing now, isn't it, Bev? We're
Mm.
we're seeing the changes coming in around those that we love too, our families in particular, who are
Yes,
switching also the way they've been seeing things, the way they've seen things over life is really changing, opening up in heart space basically. And I
yeah,
really truly believe that's because there's ones like us who have been in the families doing the internal work that's moving our whole soul group family on and
absolutely.
and evolving, which is what we're here to do. So it's really beautiful when you see it coming back and showing up for you in your families like that. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Mm.
Because I've been like you. I've been the weird one in my family. What's she doing now? uh, and I really had to come to that place of valuing myself, even though I didn't have the external things to validate me, the value of what I have provided for myself and my family in the way of evolution.
Mm.
That to me is actually it's invaluable.
Mm.
It's the fact that it's taken a long time for it to show up.
Yeah,
It does. It takes time
right.
because our story is centuries old. We've been in this body so many times, not this specific body, but we've incarnated
Yeah,
so many times, and our story is not just about this life, it's many lifetimes.
it
So
is.
to unravel that history has taken those of us that have been on the forefront of this, it's taken us a long time to get to here.
Mm.
And they were the ones that went before us. So
Mm.
we both had our teachers that led the way for us as well.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yes, it's a big long story
It's a
that
big,
we're unraveling,
I
bit by
know.
bit.
It gets logged there all the time. They found some Aboriginal artwork a couple of weeks ago they
Yes.
found it a while back. They've just dated it as 70,000 years old.
Wow.
I know. I thought they'd been here 40,000 years, but no. This predates that by another 30.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Gosh.
So, yes. So that's a lot of unraveling.
Yeah,
Mm,
it is. That actually is.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
So this last 20 years, Bev, you've been doing some deep work. I know some of that has been about acknowledging those aspects of ourself that are not acceptable in our world. Can you
mm,
expand on that, please?
yeah. So a lot of the stuff that I've done has been around what we call the shadow. It's like really claiming. So let's go for instance, anger. I was so good at holding my anger in. Like, I'd just get up and get on with it until it would burst from me in an absolute rage about something very small.
Mm.
So, one of the things I needed to do was actually claim the anger that had been stored in my body. And I did that using a baseball bat and a um, uh, what are they called? A punching bag.
Got that. Yeah.
um, and, actually really using my voice as I hit the bag about what it was that I was enraged about that I'd never been able to speak about.
Mm.
And the relief I felt after being able to claim that, yes, I do get angry and I do get sad and I do get fearful and I do have control and, all of those things, when I can own them as being a part of me, they don't run my life.
Yes.
Mm. They don't pop out at very inconvenient times.
I was just going to say it's so uncomfortable when it's running you. When those things are running you, it's not fun. And
It's not fun at all.
I remember feeling the feelings, the emotion, I'm running through it and dramatizing it all as we do. And
Yeah.
then I would be standing back. It was like my observer self watching this drama Mandy play stuff out, and I'm going, this is not who I am. Why am I doing this? This isn't who I am. And yet
Yeah.
there was no stopping it because it was just on automatic. So I had to, like you, work through all these deeper emotional woundings that create that reactive flare up in us.
Yeah. They're all the things that we've been told are unacceptable,
Mm,
you know, but we have them little thoughts running around in our minds quite a lot.
yeah.
But, it's like bringing those to the fore and exposing them, because when we expose all of that, we actually can see where they came from and heal it.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But unless we see it, we can't do anything about it.
No. And there is no going around it. Like,
Well, I do remember when I first started, I'd be on the having a Reiki session and, I can see this and we'll just flick it off and we'll just flick it off and we'll flick something else off. And seriously? Much as I would love to be able to just flick it off,
yep.
it's actually, for me, it's been about owning it,
Mm,
like really owning where it came from and loving those parts of me to death.
mm. Yeah.
Mm,
Absolutely. And I know, too, that we don't do that until we do. We
no,
don't love it until we get to a point in there where we really can see it and understand it.
yeah.
And many times I know I was told to just love it, but that didn't work for me. I had to dive deeply into it and find it and work through it and take it out bit by bit because I was somebody who needed to understand things. I needed to know what that was. It wasn't about just having it rise up and let's throw it out over there somewhere. It was about
Mm,
really getting in and understanding it. That was
yeah,
the only way I could work with it.
that's for me as well.
Mm,
Yeah, I really needed to understand what was happening in my body and what happened to me as, say, a 5-year-old.
mm,
What was it that cut me off from my magic,
yeah.
for instance. And I really found that it was being uprooted from the place I was born and moved to another place, and it just separated me from my own inner knowing and my own wisdom,
Mm,
because the land held so much there for me.
right. Mm.
Yeah.
So what when you were in that flow of magic before you lost it, what did you used to do as a child? Like how did you use it? Like
Oh, so I spent most of my time in nature. I was really fortunate. We were on a farm and we had a creek that ran just down the hill from us. And I used to spend my time sitting by the creek, just communing with
mm,
nature and just knowing how everything worked together. Like, so, for instance, we have these ants here that are called meat ants, and I knew that they help to run the ley lines. They help to show where the boundary of something was.
mm,
Um, yeah, I could hear what the little creek had to say, about the water and the clarity and. Um, it's hard to remember all of those things that I knew, but they're coming back.
beautiful. That's so
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah.
And there is such magic in nature.
Oh,
You know, when you really sit in it and tune into it, it's just so magical.
It is. I remember in a past life where I knew about the ants, and when Australia was first being, um, they were putting fences up and things, and sitting as an Aboriginal, sending the ants in to tell them not to do that. But they didn't understand. They didn't have that same degree of understanding of what the ants were there for. So
Mm,
it's like everything in nature. I mean, in my 30s and 40s, I had no idea what ants were for, and I'd be out with the ant dust. But actually, ants provide a lot of information.
yeah. Mm,
Mm,
yes, there's a purpose and point to everything, isn't there?
there is, yeah.
Mm,
Yep, and we keep killing it off, the same as we're killing off what is inside of us. So
mm.
when we stop killing off what's inside of us, then nature can rise up and we can be part of that.
Yes, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Sort of,
Yeah.
yes, you know, I do sometimes used to sit and get quite sad, like really sad. I could sit for an hour and just cry about the destruction of our beautiful Mother Earth, this gorgeous Papatūānuku, and it just saddened me so much. And then it was the realization that what I held in my body was also destroying her. You know, it was part of her body. I needed to, you know, because I was on the death and destruction pathway through that belief of separation. And
Yeah.
so, you know, the decay and death row. And,
Yep.
you know, so for me, it was okay, I knew I needed to work on myself to help her body, like we were saying before.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's been a deep passion.
Mm.
So, Bev, what can you share with us to support listeners to get out of judgment and reconnect to empathy and compassion?
Oh well, I guess it is just about really looking deeply at your own story and having way more compassion and empathy for yourself. You know, it's like that is, for me, that's the key to everything, is really what is going on inside of me, and how can I be more compassionate with myself. And then it just it just flows to the outside.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
that's really cool because it is like that. We just don't, do we? We don't have a lot of empathy or compassion for ourselves.
Oh, I don't know about you, but it has lessened a lot, like a lot. But I still get that little judgment inside of me. Oh God, you stupid woman! What'd you do that for? Or
Mm,
you know, you just talk to yourself inside your head, but your cells are always listening,
they are.
and they hear it all, and they just go, "Yep, okay." She wants more of that. We'll just give it to her.
I know. I used to when you know Spirit said to me one day, listen to what you're saying to yourself, and I just sort of shrugged it off, said, yeah, you know, I hear myself talking all the time. No, listen to what you're saying. And oh my
Yeah,
goodness, when I actually took notice and listened just for a few hours, woo, I was
yeah,
in deep grief over the friend that I thought she was to me. She wasn't. She was terrible. The
yeah,
comments and the, you know, derogatory, oh my goodness, it was terrible. So, you know, I knew then I really needed to clean my act up on how I felt and thought about myself.
yeah.
Mm.
I remember I used to drive a school bus in the country, and I'd have 45 minutes before I picked up my first student. And what I was doing was watching my thoughts. So, you know, sometimes your thoughts just take you off. I don't know where they go. They just out there somewhere. And I would be driving the bus, and then I'd hear my thoughts, and I'd go, "Boy, come back here." And it was like I was kept bringing myself back to here instead of wherever my mind was meandering to.
Mm.
Because I think you know, most people think that their mind is just their mind and off it goes. But we are in charge of our mind. We are allowed to go, "Hoy, I don't want to think about that. That's not part of my belief system, or it's not my business. So come back here." I was pretty good at minding everybody else's business and thinking what they were doing. So that's where my mind was going. So it's like, bring it back, bring it into here, and doing a little bit more on seeing what I could do to change where I was at.
Yeah. Yes, I was very good at minding everyone else's business too, and now it's so freeing. I don't pay any attention to any of that anymore. It's like it's just not my stuff, not my business, nothing to do with me. So I don't waste my energy and time or thoughts in it.
No.
Right. It's so freeing.
Well, yeah.
All right. So, Bev, what has been one of your biggest challenges or lessons in this lifetime as a metaphysical therapist?
Oh. I've been thought of as weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when, especially as I lived in country WA, where, anything a little out of the ordinary, people thought you were weird. And, being able to channel other energies was considered weird. Thinking that we might have space brothers and sisters, which I know that we do have, was considered weird. And, feeling people that had been really close friends and family just withdraw. That was a really big challenge till I withdrew myself completely and went to New Zealand. And being in a cosmopolitan area like Auckland, you could be weird because there was a few other weird ones there as well. Yeah. So it was a challenge, especially with family, to come out of the closet and say, I'm a healer, and especially a sound healer. Yes, because that was one of the things that had been really squashed in me, was my voice, to bring sound through. And now my voice sometimes just rages through me, but it clears so much using my sound. And it's really difficult when I have when I feel people's judgment around my sound.
Do you find it still happening today? Like, are there still ones?
I'm back in country WA. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
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 So I'm really thankful to have an online community where I have people that I've known for a long time that I can reconnect with, that understand sound and what it does.
Yeah. Beautiful. Because you're so very, very good at it, Bev. Honestly, I was blown away when I first sat in one of your healing sessions, your sound bowl voice activated sessions. You're just so amazing. So, yeah. And I get, I can understand, like, I know you can understand how and why people would think it and see it as weird, because even for ourselves and all the woo-woo and all the strange stuff we might do, I know when it came to the healing, energy healing part, for me, my hands go weird and my body gets all deformed looking and funny, and I used to be so afraid of people judging that I wouldn't show it in front of public and anywhere until I was nudged to start teaching healing and running healing evenings. So it was like, okay, do I sit here with my arms folded all night and day, or do I actually get in and just do? And when I did, it was fully accepted. And it's finding the safe spaces to be able to really allow ourselves to be who we are.
And to develop fully. We need those safe places to develop fully. Because one of the things that I do, and I think you do too, if I remember rightly, is that we transmute a lot of stuff through our own body.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes in a session I'll burp, and it's like I remember running a retreat, and this young American guy goes to me, "Oh my God," he said, "we used to chug down cans of beer so we could make that sound." He goes, "You would win the burping contest hands down." So, that's a challenge to me to let that out, especially in front of new clients when, we're just getting to know each other. But usually it's the new clients that I do it the most with because they're not used to being able to release for themselves. So it just gets transmuted through my body.
Yes, yeah.
Mm.
And it is quite comical when you and I are sitting in a healing together because we both do a lot. That's how we transmute this energy. And, I have made a joke with you many times that we should do a healing CD. Perfect. It's got to be, got to be
Oh,
something in there.
there's some fun there, it is quite comical, some of the stuff that we do. And I guess that's where we feel the weirdness, because it's not. But, what happens with that is also then we contract our energy when we don't allow that out. When we don't allow our weirdness out into the world, our energy gets contracted. So we're not being fully who we are. And we don't bring as much as we could do.
Yes.
So my advice to those out there doing weird stuff, embrace it. Be as weird as you like.
Absolutely. Honestly, it's a good thing. And people accept it, Not everybody's
No,
blindfolded.
that's right.
Okay, Bev, so what's been your inspiring dream? What would you say that's been?
Mm. Well, I think it's been for the planet, of course, but it's actually for people to become who they are, so that they can reach their potential and go out and do the stuff that they need to do in the world. I have one client who worked with me for a few years, who was she's also a healer, but she was too afraid of stepping on people's toes by taking them to those deeper levels. She could see there was something that they could do, but they were still in their mind. So helping her to unravel her own work created this amazing healer who now can take people to those deep spaces. So the more I can mentor other healers to go past that level that they have held themselves at, that just gives me such pleasure. I love, love, love watching other people step into leadership.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is a buzz, that is for sure. It's
Yeah.
that light going on, eh? You see them light up, igniting them,
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yes. Well, yep. And I've seen a few. And I think since lockdown, there's a few more that have actually stepped into their potential. I'm like going, I was part of their stepping into their full potential.
yes,
And
yes, I know. It's so great, isn't it? I've been noticing that in mine as well. It's really, really wonderful. I love it. I do.
yeah, I do. Mm.
Well, that's a great dream, and that's part of your purpose in here and on the
Yeah,
planet, isn't it, Bev? So,
yeah, yes. As
mm,
I don't necessarily want to be out in front doing, you know, I'm quite happy to be behind and support other people to go forward.
yeah,
I actually need to be in my fullness to be able to support them to do that too.
you do absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. Excuse me. So, Bev, you're going to be our guest at the beginning of the month. Um, And you're
Something
offering a live sound healing activation. Yay.
I am.
So would you please explain to us how your sound healing works to benefit us, please?
Oh, okay. So sound, because it bypasses the conscious mind and it works directly on the body, it just helps to release stuff out of the physical body. So, for instance, the other day, my daughter, I gave her a Bowen, but there was this sound that just wanted to come through. So what happened was her Maori ancestors just started working through me, and they actually roared through. And what it did was it unlocked the grief that she'd been holding inside herself for a long time.
Oh.
And she could just let it rest. You know, like she had a really big cry. So that doesn't happen for everybody, of course, but you know, there is this thing that releases inside a person with sound.
Mm.
And you know, the sound will continue working in somebody's body for up to 10 days or more, depending on what it is. And the things that start unlocking within the body and come out to be examined, released, acknowledged are, it's quite amazing.
Yeah. And
Mm.
it's so tiring holding on to all of that, you know, suppressing it, like trying to hold it down so we don't lose the plot or, you know, break down
Ah,
at the wrong time or whatever it might be, because you're walking in that every day. You're trying to, you know, suppress it and hold
things
it
that's not there.
in. Mm,
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to
mm,
hold our stuff down.
yeah.
And then what happens with the sound, it's like a big blast of energy. So one of my teachers used to describe it like you've got a blocked hose. So our body's this blocked hose, and then you put a whole heap of force of pressure through it, and it unblocks the hose.
Mm,
Well, that's what sound for me does. It unblocks the body so that you can actually start to acknowledge what you have been storing in there.
yeah. It's
Mm.
really beautiful. And I know the times that I've sat in your healings and, you know, in a group
Yeah.
publicly and things. I mean, I just go. I'm off. I go on these journeys out there, and I know the first time we ever met, it took me quite a bit to get myself back here because I love being out there. But what I knew too was that I could feel the vibration in my body, in my physical body, and it was definitely, how would I put it? It was like creating its own musical or orchestration within my body, and for me it felt like you could feel things leaving, like you could actually feel them lifting out of you and releasing, and I didn't need in that moment to know what they were. It was like I just didn't, my mind didn't need to be engaged, and it didn't become engaged, actually, I don't think. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't questioning what that was. It was just happening, and I was okay with that. It was lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I did a session with a whole heap of women around clearing what they were holding in their womb. And I just brought through a whole different lot of sounds. And one of the women reported afterwards that her endometriosis had been totally cleared.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of instances where people go away and they don't necessarily um, sorry, I've lost my words. Uh, Connect the sound with what's healed.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, this woman did, which was a blessing to me. But
Right.
a lot of people go away and they move on, and in 10 days they notice something's changed,
Mm.
but they haven't actually gone. Oh, so 10 days ago I had a sound healing with Bev. So you know, you never get to really hear the stories that have occurred.
Well, that would be lovely if you could get some of that coming back for you, Bev, because I know for myself, and you know how it just really, it does validate what you're doing, and it helps. It's not that we need that, you know, for
No,
us to continue, because we know the value,
yeah.
but it's nice to hear.
It is nice to hear a little bit of feedback. But, you know, as I said, I don't need it so much anymore. I did when I first started, but I don't so much anymore.
No.
Because I know what I bring affects people how it needs to. And, you know, if they get no effect, well, that's their thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So when I do the sound, I'll be using my sacred geometry templates as well, so which adds another dimension to it all.
it does.
Yeah, and it's just beautiful.
Beautiful. So how did you sort of, you know, get involved with the bowls? How did they come about?
So yeah, well, I met the Bowls. It must be nearly 30 years ago.
Mm.
Uh, I was doing what was called an art of channeling course. I thought I'd like to channel. That would be good. Little did I know that actually I'd have to clear some of my own internal stuff to be a clear channel. And the facilitator had been to America with Verna Yader, and she had introduced me to the Bowls. And Verna was a really amazing sound healer who I went and spent time with in America as well. And there was something that what happened was actually when I went to New Zealand, I had her in my ear because she had passed over by then. She used to tell me what to do every day. She'd go here, Bev, do this, Bev. It was like she was my mentor from the other side.
Wow.
It was just, it was really beautiful. But she was this amazing sound healer who helped me to find my voice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm.
And, you know, Bev, when I've, again, sitting in your sound healing activations and things, it's like the bowls, because you so connect, the bowls and you just connect, you know, it's like you become one with them. They become one with you. It's like your crystalline self and them just align, and you are them. And what I love is that, for me, this is the way I saw it anyway, it was like they drew out of you this toning, this sound, and the
Yeah.
sound resonates with the vibration of the bowls. It's like it sends out and connects with your voice and just radiates it out there. It's so incredible the way it works.
Yeah. I've always felt that my voice and the bowl just connect together, and it just, yeah. I can use sound just using my voice, but when I use my bowl, for me to connect with my bowl, I had a medicine wheel in one of the houses that I lived in, and I sat for 12 months sitting in my circle with my bowl, and I used to play my bowl out there every day just to connect it. And that bowl has travelled with me everywhere I go. It's like it's on the plane coming with me. It's a big part of who I am. Because I actually only have one bowl now, because it's too much to keep carrying half a dozen bowls around. I do have another one coming next week because having two is always good.
That's lovely. What bowl is it that you've really connected to that you take?
This bowl actually has a really big story attached to it. Do we have time for a story?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So I originally had a heart bowl, and I was doing a session on a woman, and I went to pick it up, and it tapped the wall and cracked. And so I actually had to sit for 2 years just using my voice. And my friend came over and she said to me, "Oh, look, my daughter in Byron Bay's got a bowl that she never uses. You could call her and ask her for a bowl." I'm like, not likely. I've met this poor girl once. I'm not calling her out of the blue. Anyway, so 2 years later, my friend goes over to help her daughter have her baby. And her daughter goes to her, "Hey, Mum, look, you've done so much for us. Here, I'll give you the bowl."
Oh.
So what happens was she comes to my place. She said, "Here, Bev, here's your bowl." So it's like this bowl came to me like serendipitously. It was like this. So it's a huge bowl. I think it's a 24-inch or something like that. It's a really big bowl, but the bowl and me are so totally connected that she had to find her way from Byron Bay to Bridgetown in WA to connect with me. So, they have an energy all of their own.
They do.
And her name's Bella.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that, Bev. And when things are meant to be, they're meant to be.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. The thing is, it says in the opening, the things that have come to me by divine decree have been like, I could write a whole book on those things that have happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great fun, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah.
So, Bev, is there a closing remark now that you would like to leave the listeners with?
Yes, I actually would like to offer those of you that have watched this our intimate conversation a half-price session on Zoom. Normally my sessions are $150. So for $75, you get an hour of my time and my sound and my sacred geometry and whatever other insights I have that I can bring forward for you.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Bev, for that offer. And I'm sure you'll be hunted out for that.
Well, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. In fact, as I said, I love working with people.
Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that's really lovely. So when we put this link and everything up, this recording up, it'll have links to your information so that people can go there and connect with you and take you up on that beautiful offer.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mandy, for having me. I feel very honoured to be your first guest. And yeah, my beautiful friend Mandy. Beautiful.
Thank you, Bev. It's been such a beautiful honour to have you here and to be our first guest too. I was so excited, and I knew you were going to be, like, you just had to be our first guest. I was so excited about that. And I look forward to our live sound healing with you.
Awesome.
That'll be great. Ali. So thank you so much. Lots of love, Bev.
Love, yeah. Bye.